Liberal Party in Canada, led by Mark Carney, has secured a decisive victory in the 2025 election, projected to win 191 seats, bolstered by voter concerns over US tariffs and economic stability. This shift signals a new chapter, potentially, for Canada-India relations strained under Trudeau by Khalistan-related tensions. Prime Minister Modi's congratulatory tweet to Carney offers a gesture of friendship hinted at a potential reset. With Jagmeet Singh's NDP absolutely collapsing to just 7 seats, Carney's economic expertise could leverage India's global rise for stronger trade, promising a diplomatic renewal. Joining us now for more on this, NDTV's Maha Siddiqui and Dean Baxendale is a columnist in Canada as well. Maha, let me come to you first. Do you believe that the Conservatives failed to shift from attacking Justin Trudeau to countering Mark Carney's leadership, in the process losing what? A 25-point polling lead?
That's absolutely right. They were unable to pivot in time to the larger concern of the Canadians after the 20th of January, when Donald Trump took over as the president of the United States of America. And it was clear that there was an economic coercion and an annexation threat coming towards Canada. The Liberal Party was able to leverage that immediately, be able to have a campaign built around that issue. In fact, so much so that Justin Trudeau, who was so unpopular for over 1.5 years at least, bowed out of the Liberal Party with a high opinion rating in almost 15 months. So it showed that the issue of US and the threats coming in from the US became the top of the mind issue for the Canadians. And that's where the Conservatives failed to pivot their campaign towards. They continue to focus on domestic issues, which they were reaping benefits for the last 1 year, bringing to notice of the people the housing crisis, the inflation. But they failed to recognize in time that the bigger issue for most Canadians was the annexation threat, was a threat to their identity and sovereignty. And that's where they seem to have lost. However, if you see the vote share between the Liberals and the Conservatives, it's not too far. The gap is pretty close between the two. It's just that the Liberals have been able to convert many more seats into their favor, which is now leading them to almost 168 seats, Vishnu, just 4 shy of a majority. Though under the current circumstances over the last 3 months, it was believed that the Liberal Party may perhaps be able to even gain a majority. But so far, they haven't been able to, though we are still awaiting the final results because counting has once again started about 2 hours back. It was paused for a bit, the marathon counting in Canada, and we will wait to see whether some of the ridings can be converted into seats for the Liberals.
Dean Baxendale, how did the Conservatives misjudge voter priorities by perhaps focusing on, among other issues, the cost of living, when Trump's tariffs and the issue of tariffs appeared to dominate election concerns? Was there a misaligned campaign focus, is my question.
Well, listen, I think this came on very quickly. We had a number of different converging factors that ultimately led to the Conservatives not taking over and forming the next government. Number 1, Donald Trump. Number 2, Donald Trump. And number 3, Donald Trump. So I think that what we saw is that Canada was citizens coalesced around the notion of Canada strong, either on the Conservative side or the Liberal side. But the Liberals have been masters at controlling the cosmopolitan centres inside Canada for the better part of 40 years. That fact alone meant that a vote shift took place away from the centre-right conservative opportunity for the Conservative Party, and the MAGA right of Canada was really alienating many Canadians. So yes, they did not shift effectively to where they needed to go with the population, and ultimately it was bad strategy on behalf of key people within the campaign that didn't pivot soon enough, recognizing that Carney had carved out the middle, the center of the electorate very, very quickly by axing the tax and taking on Donald Trump with his credentials.
Mr. Vagre, we've seen a very positive sort of friendly statement tweet from Prime Minister Modi to Mr. Carney, saying that, India extends a hand of friendship. And does that augur well for the relationship, which has really been down in the dumps. Do you believe that there's a genuine effort to try and fix that?
Absolutely. I think the political alignments have shifted within Canada, and the winds of change are as well blowing with tariffs and existential crisis to the Canadian economy. Canada has to look for new markets, and these markets are outside of North America, be it India, China, and a research which Canada would definitely reach out to these economies, I believe, in the near future. And there would be a reshift and realignment in the foreign policy narrative.
Maha, what does Jagmeet Singh's electoral defeat and the NDP's collapse to 7 seats mean for Canada's potential approach to India, given Jagmeet Singh's pro-Khalistan stance?
Yes, for the NDP, it's been a big loss of face, considering that you need at least 12 seats in parliament to be able to have the status of a national party. So with 7, they will lose that as well. And that is why Jagmeet Singh was quick to step down as the leader of the NDP. And though he did say that they put their best foot forward, but clearly the NDP was perhaps seen as one that was supporting Justin Trudeau and the decisions taken by Justin Trudeau, which A, could have backfired. And secondly, this race in Canada had become a 2-horse race between the Liberals and the Conservatives. And voters, it seems, were pretty clear that they wanted to give a majority, which hasn't really happened, to either of these two parties to be able to take on US President Donald Trump. As far as the issue of pro-Khalistan activities is concerned, it was largely believed that because the Trudeau government was in minority and was being supported from earlier from within by NDP and then later on from outside by the NDP, that they had to bow down to some of the issues that the NDP thought were necessary to take up. And many people believe that the Khalistan issue was one of them. If the Liberal Party is now able to have a majority government, and why I say this is because we're still waiting, perhaps there could be some ridings which are too close to call that could still go in favor of the Liberal Party. And if they do, in fact, manage a majority at this moment, 4 seats shy of that, then they will have the authority to take decisions as per what they believe is best and will not be dependent on any other party or outside support. And that could change the course of the relationship between India and Canada as well. We could see that Mark Carney has been pragmatic in the relationship, or at least reigniting the relationship between India and Canada by calling it an important country. The Indo-Pacific strategy of Canada also does point out to the importance of India. And if currently Canada is realistic about the geopolitical alignments, about their relationship with US and looking for new partners, then clearly India becomes significant as a trading partner for Canada as well. And therefore, Mark Carney could rely on that aspect.
Dean Maxendale, a final question to you. As I understand it, the large majority of Indians didn't vote for the NDP. They voted for the Liberals. That reflects in the election results, which are being counted, of course. But the fact that Jagmeet Singh did as disastrously as he did, with Indo-Canadians voting in a particular direction, does it indicate that the large number of Indo-Canadians want nothing to do with Sikh extremism or separatism or the Khalistani movement, coming out of Canada?
Well, listen, I think this was true. That's true today, as it was a year ago, as it was 3 or 4 years ago. I think, my Sikh friends are absolutely appalled by the fact that the Canadian government, our security intelligence services, have never taken on these elements inside the country, allowed them to run freely without abatement. And this is what Sikh Canadians want. They want peace. They want to bring up their children in this great country. They want to be able to practice their culture and religion free and away from terrorist actions. And they certainly do not want to be financing terrorist uprisings back in India. Mark Carney has an opportunity here to galvanize Indo-Canadians for the better of our country and the better for our society overall, just as he must do with the Chinese diaspora that is unfortunately much on Beijing's side. So we need to be a strong United Canada and promote the democratic values and freedoms that Canada stands for.
All right, I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us. We are out of time.